song. Hey, Maurizio, what did he say?
You get better video with us.
I think that's them back there. Maurizio Topotopini.
Said, come on, you get better video with us.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, went into the Woodlands. We waited for Team RR. Once we picked up Team RR on Research Forest, headed out Fish Creek. The pace was good. We filmed all the way to 105. We went west on 105, and then we went straight into Montgomery. They took the back way. We went through the forest. We took Fawn Forest Road once we got outside of the forest and came back on 149. We took Hidden Forest Road, all of that off camera. Took 1097. Bypassed Montgomery, and we took 105 into Honier. By the time we got into Honier, we turned on the camera and filmed all the way back on Fish Creek. I think you would like the clips that we got for you. We kept the effort pretty high. The speeds were good. The wind was fairly favorable, so it was a very pleasant ride.
We got a lot of lights. That's a different group. So I don't know who this is. This must be everybody riding today, I guess.
This is the last day of winter.
Morning.
Spring is in the
Darren
air.
and them. Come on, let's go.
That's part of the Team RR guys that rode by here. So we're going ahead. They're split up. You hear Paul mention it.
Let's go.
I didn't hear it very clearly, and I rode up and asked him again.
You guess or what? I didn't hear that, my brother. You what?
I think the team are scattered all over.
That's Darren and them over there.
Yeah, Team RR is scattered.
I
You know
don't
how
know
when
if
they
this is
leave the
all Team
parking lot,
RR or they just happen to
people
be
are
out
always
here.
dragging and
People look
lagging.
familiar.
So a part of them are up there, a part of them are in the back.
That's Darren and them.
In a few kilometers, when we get to 2978, I will take the camera and I will roam the bunch and go back and get them all on camera.
There's
You'll
another
see
group
that.
behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a middle group with Abby and a few riders. He's gonna come up. Lovely morning. Picturesque sky.
Mo said you got better video with us.
Yeah, come on.
Mo went by and said, come on, you get better video with us. That was the WCC guys.
How are the twins today? Good morning, Paul and Lunga.
Good morning. Man.
That's Mike Pereira from San Diego, California, on the left there.
You've been going
He patted me on the shoulder. I greeted him. It was good to see him. And that's Abby on the left here. Up to his usual antics. I gave him a hard time today. He just laughed. The light changes to green as we're approaching, and so Abby's letting everybody know we got a green light right there. So there's a group already sitting at the light. The timing was right, so we didn't need to stop. This is 1488. We're going across on Old Egypt Road, becomes Huffsmith Conroe Road.
This looks like a rowdy group like before.
They're all over the road. As I said, this is Jonathan on the left here. And that's Robert LaPlante to the left of Jonathan. This is John Mulbrecht. We call him Shempusan. I don't know if he knows we call him Shempusan, but Mo was doing commentary a while back and he kept saying Shempusan. Shempusan is a rider in the European peloton. A strong rider. I believe he rides for the AGR team. Mondial. French team. John's one of the guys on the right who schedules a lot of rides when nobody else gets on GroupMe. and he'll schedule rides and they'll go out. I ended up riding with them the day after this ride on Sunday. It was very intense, a lot of attacks. It was perfect, a perfect follow-up to Paul and I's long ride. In a few kilometers, well, not a few kilometers, maybe about 10 kilometers, you will see Jonathan on the right. He will unclip, he will shake both legs. Even before then, he will shake his hand. And so I had noticed he did that months ago, and he was on film doing it. And from looking at him, his fit looks good. So I rode with them on Sunday and made an effort and asked him, hey man, I saw this, I've seen this a couple of times. Then I found out that the guy on the right is the one I'm talking about, up there with the purple jersey and the white cap. He's in front of Robert. Robert's on the in the view here, the guy on the right there with the white helmet. He broke his neck many years ago. I don't know how long ago. Said he was hit by a car. And so after recovering from that, he has circulation problems in his hands and his feet, his extremities. He said they get very cold easily. So that's what that was about. It's not a fit issue.
How was your little training camp?
What Robert is asking Abby here on the left, Abby schedules these long rides. Abby is retired, so he's got nothing but time on his hands. He schedules these long rides during the week where they'll ride like 120 miles or whatever. You know, that's their plan anyway. So he'll post who wants to go. You know, it's a Tuesday, you know. And unless you're retired and you got the day off, you don't join then. But a lot of guys has some time, so they would join. That's what Robert's talking about. They're preparing for some long marathon ride that's coming up that they've signed up for somewhere in Texas. And that's what they're doing. So even though I do bike fits, guys, I still work on making sure everything feels right. You know, you get new cleats, new shoes. Anytime you change equipment, you got to pay attention to the details, because we ride too many hours for me to let anything be off, because you can get aches in your knee. So if you get a little twinge on the inside of your knee or something, it's not because of the workout. Something's off. And I'm talking about an uncomfortable, painful feel. Even if it happens after you get off the bike, you've got to check that out. If you've changed anything, even if you haven't, maybe the cleat moved on you. So make sure you mark your settings on your shoe, and make sure you check the tightness of your cleats periodically, at least monthly, depending on how much you ride. The open road, the FM 2978 Fish Creek Thoroughfare. We're headed north. Everybody gets excited, and you see today everybody and their uncle was riding bike today. Was on the bike. The bikes were out. It was great. We saw a lot of long lost faces that we had not seen in at least 6 months. And one of the guys that I'm talking about, he still rides, you know, but we don't ride together. And you will hear him say, "Where you guys been?" His name is Paul Meyer. You ride with people enough to where I can see a silhouette of certain riders like Mo, Jerry, Greg Schott. I can know that it's them without seeing their faces because of the way they ride. And this guy named Paul Meyer, he has his own style. As soon as I saw him from the back, I told Paul, that's Paul Meyer. It's coming up. But you know what I mean. You have some familiar shape. You know somebody and you go to a party, you can just tell that's that person, their form. Because we are all very unique in the way we do things, in the way we are. That's kind of neat. I know people better when they're dressed for cycling than if I see them in the store. Out of lycra, so to speak. So because of the benefits of the draft, you can see my power. The power jumps around. I just see it on the screen. I don't look at it when I'm riding, but it's a 3-second average that you're looking at. But I'm benefiting from the draft and kind of getting sucked along here. I stay really close. That's Paul Meyer. That's what I was talking about. I knew it was him. I said, Paul Meyer, good morning, sir. You see how excited he said, "Where you been, my man?" He hadn't seen us at least for 6 months because we always see him. We eat the same dirt, so to speak, from Heartbreak Ridge. We ride the same roads, and he loves long rides. So we occasionally would spot him out in the forest, and sometimes he'll turn and go with us. That's Robert LaPont moving through. He told Paul, "Coming on your right." I told him, "It's hell of a group. Let me go roll." We got people all over the road. That's Mike S5. That's Kenny. That's Dog Shot.
That's the man,
Dan the Man. I hadn't seen him in a while. And Mark.
Everybody's out here today.
It was good to see all these guys. They've been hibernating like bears. I mean, it's a cool morning, but it's supposed to warm up to like 21 Celsius. It's 3 right now, which is cold. We're like 38, 39 Fahrenheit. And so people are dressing for 3 hours from now, so to speak, in certain cases like these two guys. But I cover my knees. I just don't mess with it. So I went to the back, filmed everybody, now I'm roaming. I'm going back to the front because I know as soon as we go that downhill, they're going to pick it up. That's Greg Schott. He's one of the guys, if I see from a distance, I know it's him. Ridden enough with him. We don't know these riders. They're just out, we're going past them on their aero bars. It was good to see cyclists out. The weather is turning favorable. Spring is in the air. Today was the last day of winter officially. Spring starts March 20th. This ride occurred on the 19th. I'm not pedaling here. I'm coasting down the hill. I'm staying close to them. We're doing about 31 miles an hour or so. And I'm going to start rolling up to film them from the side and then go to Paul and give him the camera. That's Paul. So I figure I would give him the camera and just slip in front of him. So when we get ready, what happened is Paul puts his key fob in his security pocket on the jersey. Well, once you put on your gloves, you don't have the same feel and dexterity. So what ended up happening was there was a little hole where when he zipped up the security pocket, I don't think he went all the way up, so he could feel a hole, and he was concerned about the key fob falling out. We're doing almost 100 miles on these rides, so you don't want to drop stuff like that because you won't know where to begin to look for it. And so he, in a few kilometers, he would come up to me and ask me to hold the camera because his pocket is open and he's concerned. So to deal with that, he needed both hands. We're stopping. The light is short. I move to the left. I look for traffic. Make sure nothing's coming. And because I already downshifted, I don't want to stop completely because I know this light is very short. See? It favors the highway. It's a subdivision, so there's no cars there. Now everybody's getting back up to speed. You can see the watts. Usually 350 to 4 something if you really put it down to get, even on a flat road, to just get back up to speed instantly. I kind of sip my effort here. I stand a little bit, get that gear rolling. I'm in a moderate gear, probably a 5319. This is somewhere around here in a little bit. Paul's gonna come and give me the camera. That's Abby doing his usual foolishness where he sits on the left for no reason. You will hear me bug him later on. He does that foolishness. I think it's showboating because there is no point to it. There's no it makes no rhyme, no sense. There's no rhyme or reason of what he does. You hear me tell him. I make sure I tell him and then he laughs, which confirms that he's showing off. You're gonna go up to the front, don't just go there and sit next to the rider pulling. Go take a pull. Paulie's a gappy. I think Paul must be messing with that zipper right here. Because just from looking at the clip, he's doing something other than just riding right now. He wouldn't necessarily leave a gap like that. So you got to train enough to where, depending on how ambitious you are, to where if you have a mechanical or something.
Hold this for a minute. I left my pocket open. I didn't realize that.
You hear how Paul sounds like he just went to the dentist? 3 Celsius, that wind hits your face. And it can affect how you speak. I don't know if he was aware of it, but I can tell. He sounds like he's got something on his face when he doesn't. So I take the camera from him and I will hold it until we go past the overpass. He'll come back to get it. And he'll still think that the pocket is still open. And then we confirm it at the stop at 105. And I look at it, oh, it's closed. He just couldn't tell. I'm wearing my Asos winter gloves on this ride, which work perfectly in this temperature range. It's 3 Celsius. It's not cold, windy. I mean, it's not windy, overcast. You know, the conditions vary. But I was impressed with how well it worked down to 3C. Because it's not a heavy glove. And so you think that it wouldn't go that far. But that's the range. They call it the winter gloves. I would just probably say, I guess it is winter, depending on where you live. It's not like for deep freezes like in Canada or Alaska. So there's so much variability. That's why I spend a lot of time bringing products to the channel to expose people to it, talking about layering and all of that. I will be doing something on gloves in the near future. We'll talk about how you layer your gloves, because spring is in the air and variable temperatures require they're harder. Those glasses I'm wearing were a gift from Ron Davis, one of our channel longtime supporters, members, lives in the Dominican Republic. It's not often I get a gift that I like. And it was a gift that he put a lot of thought into it. It's a custom painted, I believe the brand is Roca frame. We go through this light as a bunch. The drivers see us, we roll through together. Darren's gonna pull off here, I think, after we go through. But what I was saying, that I want to thank Ron for putting that much thought into it. They did like a limited edition of 10 of those colorways, which I think is in the Black History Month theme. Black History theme. So that was nice. And with that orange, of course, you know, I'm partial to orange. So it blends right in. We've got a new custom jersey from Suki Sports, Suki Custom. I will be loading it on the website soon. You can order them directly from Suki in the new colors coming up. It's beautiful and it's like very affordable, and they handle all the logistics and all that kind of stuff. But it's a nice design. I will be doing a video about their custom process. You don't need to buy more than one piece. If you buy them in batches of 10 or more, you get additional discounts, but it's not required. So you can make a custom jersey of your own team of one if you chose to. But in addition to that, we're having them allow people to buy our design that we made. So it's going to be nice. I will put the Suki Custom link in this video description because the jersey is already out there and it can be ordered. It's a nice spin on the Velo Harmony kit. That's what we're going with. Paul and I already have copies of the jersey, but we have it in what we call our spring colors. The permanent colors are loaded on the custom website, which is what is available to the public. We've got a variation, kind of like the EF team, you know, they wear pink, and then when they go to the Tour de France or Giro, they change. So we got 2 versions, something similar like that. So Velo Harmony's moving up in the world. We're having a blast. This is Darren pulling off. I'm sitting on Robert's wheel. just trying to make sure that I conserve my energy because Paul and I want to do at least 6 hours today. I had a slow week where I only did one ride this week, so I was very, very motivated this morning to ride. The road goes up here. The light is a short light. This is Reed Lake Shores. I drift a little to the left and just kind of soft pedal. You can see I'm coasting right now. That's Logan there. That's Doug shot the back with the bronze looking jersey. I think it's La Passion. This is where you expend the most energy, getting up to speed, and they're getting up to speed quickly. So 350 plus watts per hour. I think we get up to like 40K. It's not the most efficient way to ride, but that's what happens in the bunch. That's what happens in races. Those little surges, they sap your energy if you are not prepared or trained for it. This is where Abby comes with the same foolishness. So I watch him to see what he's going up there to do. And this is the thing. You don't need to be a cycling expert to figure out that what he's doing makes no sense. So he rides up there and sits next to the guy in the front that's pulling. Says nothing to the guy. Does not. So there's absolutely no reason for that. And I'm like, does that all the time. It's just nonsense.
You're gonna go up there, get to the front, and pull the group. There's no point in you going up there just sit next to him. What the hell is that?
That's exactly what it means. Why are you going up there? Jonathan nodded his head because he heard me. It's like, why are you going up there to sit next to the guy that's pulling for 5 seconds? What is that about? It's like driving your car with no purpose in mind. You're just wasting gas. You know, I mean, just foolishness. No purpose. And I told him, and he laughed. You know, he said some nonsense which I didn't really pay much attention to, but I wanted him to know. You need to give us a reason why you're going up there. And every time he does that, if I'm in the ride, I'm going to let him have it. Because you need to do what makes sense. Because what happens is not just here, guys and girls, he does that foolishness on narrow roads where we have a yellow line and the road is narrow. You got two-way traffic. He'll go sit next to the rider and piss off all the other road users that are trying to come around. And no matter how many times you say car back, he'll just sit there. And when somebody does something like that, you're riding with them, so you're all grouped together. So that foolishness, if I'm there, I'm gonna let him know. You need to do what makes sense, or sit in the back. You go out of your way to stay back there, you slow down all the time so we can come up, and then you want to come show off. What is that about? And then when it really gets hot and heavy, he's nowhere to be found. You know, right now we just ride. It's not very hard for most people, you know. This is an early ride. Everybody's out. You know, this ride, right, this part of it, even though I'm saying it's not that hard, it's hard for some people. The group has already split. A lot of the riders that I drifted back to film have their own groups back there. We didn't see them again, you know. But it's like, don't come and show off. The guy's sitting up there doing some work. Unless you're going to help, don't do what doesn't make sense. After we go over the overpass, this is where Jonathan will start unclipping. The guy in front of this gentleman here, Robert, who's right here in the camera's view, Jonathan will unclip and start shaking his legs. You know, I'd already seen him shake his hand earlier. And that's why I asked him, and yeah, so he's recovered from a broken neck, but the body heals differently, so he's dealing with circulation problems. I don't know how long ago that accident occurred, because the reason I asked him was, looking at him as a bike fitter, he looks comfortable on his machine. So I was like, what's going on? That's why I asked him on Sunday, the day after this ride, like, you know, what's the deal? And so once he told me, then it made sense. So, because he looks like he's got a good fit. If he were in my studio, I wouldn't expect him to have any kind of numbness issues or everything. He looks very well balanced and all of that. So when he told me, it made sense. But that's a pretty serious injury, because breaking your neck can paralyze you. So it was a serious injury that occurred. It's good that he's recovered enough to be back living his life. That's Logan. That's Robert LaPlante. He said on your left. He was telling Jonathan that he was on his left. I think he thought Jonathan was going to come left. So, you know, we climbed the thing at, what, 16 to 18 miles an hour, let's say. Yeah, you see Jonathan shaking his leg over there? He pulled out of the group. He's shaking the right leg. He's going to unclip and shake the left. And he's got those shoe covers, the nose covers on his shoe. So we ride past him while he was doing that, and we're riding up to John here. That was the rider that was pulling when Abby went up, that we just went around. Mike Barrera is pulling, our legend from California, from San Diego. So in a few kilometers, Paulie Longa will come up and say, and come to get the camera, and then tell me that his pocket is still open and this and that. So I tell him, well, let's deal with it at the intersection, because at 105, we always catch the light there. Because this road is not favored when you get to 105. 105 stays green most of the time. So that's about, are we turning left on Capitol Road? Are we going straight? And then Robert said he'd much rather go straight. But Mike Barrera is just motoring on, and I don't know what the route is. We did not go in the parking lot today. You saw where we were. We're on research waiting on them. So we don't know what the discussion was. We had read the GroupMe thing, which we knew that most of these guys were going to go as far as Taco Corner and then loop back home. And some riders were going as far as Anderson, Texas. They ended up going through the forest, so they made some changes to where the group split up, to where some people went into the forest while we were going north, they were coming south. And we saw them in the forest, off camera. So Mike pulls off the front, John takes over. It's a guy we call Champoussin. Reference to the powerful French rider, the AGR Mondial team. I don't know if the way he rides is similar style. He loves to attack up hills. He spins a relatively small gear most of the time, so his cadence is up. I stay close to keep my effort down while in the line. So even though we're moving at a good clip, I'm right at the top of zone 2. That's why you have to train. If you're gonna ride extensively, even if it's by yourself or you're doing challenges, personal goals or whatever, by training, you prepare your foundation to where...
One pocket. When we slow down, we'll check it. Don't worry about it.
So Paul rolls up on my left, and I hand him the camera here. He said he can't get his pocket to close. There's a security pocket on his Aero jersey. He's worried about the key fob falling out. So he would tell me again that he thinks it's still open. He's still sitting on my left in the wind. I thought he was going to get behind me, but I think there is no gap.
drop.
He said he's worried about he doesn't want the key fob to drop.
Yeah.
So when I realized he's still sitting out in the wind, I asked him if he wanted to come in.
Want to get in?
Huh?
Want to get in?
Yeah.
So since there's no gap behind me, the guy behind me is tight on my wheel. Because remember what I was saying? Yeah, I'm at zone 2. Doesn't mean everybody's at the same zone. Like when we ride with Mo, he's probably in zone 1 most of the time. So everybody's, your anatomy is different, your fitness is different, everybody's different. And so I'll go ahead and leave a gap. He's sitting on Robert's wheel, but you know, when Robert makes adjustment, he goes left. So Paul is not directly behind Robert. Paul is sitting a little to the left. I moved on the right because there was a bit of a hesitation, so it caused us to slow down. You can see my watts, basically as I soft pedal, they drop. So I moved to the right in there, and what that did is it allowed Paul Ilonga to at least not have to react to Robert's change in speed when the guy in front slowed down. So I'm over the white line. Paul is on the left here on Robert's wheel. The camera's in his left hand. That's why it looks like he's way over. But he's where he needs to be to get some shelter. I'm sitting on the actual shoulder, slightly behind Paul. We're coming to the intersection, and our plan is I want to check his pocket for him because I can visually see it. We don't have to rely on the feel. So he rides to the corner. The light is right up there where that car is. We're going to go left. So he stays on the edge here. This is for cars turning right. There is a little bit of a, what I call elbow right here, where the line kind of spreads out. That's where he and I stop so the group can get in that lane because I want to check his pocket. So I'm on his right.
This one on the side. See this one? Is it close? All the way up? It's close. Okay.
So he couldn't feel that it was there. There had been a hole. He said he felt a hole there.
Zipped all the way up.
Okay, good.
The key's still in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Zipped
So we want to make sure that the key fob is still there so we're good. Because if you put stuff in there, you leave that pocket open and it drops and you don't know where, that's a needle in the haystack there. I'm wearing those Pactimo Alpine bibs, the pocket bibs. They did their job great. They just disappeared. Good fit, very comfortable. I keep my pedal tension pretty low. You see how I just got in I didn't have to fight to get in. I don't fight to get out. We're turning west on 105. We're in Conroe, Texas. And this road, it has a wide shoulder. There's a lot of debris after you, about halfway to the right there. That's what you see where we are. But this stretch of this road is very deceiving. You will hear, this is Dan in front of Paul here. Dan is going to tell Paul in a few kilometers, long climb, Paul. From here, there's about probably 3 miles. It's just going up. It's not the most vicious grades. You see it says 2% right now, but look at the watts. So you're riding 250 plus watts per hour. Oh, 250 watts, and you're just going for 3 miles. So if you haven't prepared yourself to do it that long, it can wear on you. Since I know it's a long climb, I start out keeping my cadence high. because it allows me to do two things: save my legs and react to the changes in the group pace. You will see me do a lot of soft pedaling, which makes it easy for Dan here to follow me, because I'm not braking or anything. I just soft pedal right there. I'm soft pedaling. See how the watts drop? Yeah, because the group, you know, you get that little slowdown for whatever reason people are there. And I can tell that this road is not easy. So I'm looking at the guy in the chartreuse, the jersey with the gray and chartreuse on the right. I'm thinking he's sitting next to Jonathan and they're talking. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it better be something important, because you're tapping into some energy to sit there, because he's exposed and this road is going up. Because I'm very stingy with my energy. That's the reason you see my feet covered, full-fingered gloves. I'm not trying to be cute. If I'm comfortable, then all my energy goes to my legs, making the bike go forward, not to keep my body warm. So you see, as the group slowed down, we just coasted. There's nobody braking. Just that you would slow down from the friction. Look at the watch, 5 something to get going again, because this road's going up. I hope we get a shot of it in the distance there. You can just see it. Look at the picture. The cars in the distance. It's going up. In both directions, you have these kind of grades on this road. So Paul and I like to use it going east to a road called Navajo, because you're just grinding, and we focus on keeping ourselves fluid. This is still going up. Look, it says 2%. It's been sitting there. So we don't have a lot of very long climbs in the air, so you look out for things like these, and you can do on this particular stretch. You can go this way, turn around, and you got the same thing coming back, because we have some nice descents on the other side. You can use that. That's how you get yourself conditioned. It's only about an hour or so from where we live. I just dodged that little the concrete drivers drop blobs of concrete on the road. I hate that. You need to make them chip it up. It has little rocks in it, and it's uncomfortable even in a car when you go over these things. I'm sitting here so I can see around Robert, so I see what's coming. This is a right turn lane, so we're using the actual lane so no one comes around us to turn right. You hear Danny? Long hill, Paul. We're still climbing. I'm at the bottom of zone 4 here, and I'm sitting in the bunch. So if you're not used to this kind of effort, it can wear you down. Because even though you're in the bunch, if the road's going up, you still got to work. You can tell I'm putting power in the pedals just by the way my body's moving as I drive the pedals. There is something on the road there. Okay, that's the cones. It's nice to be able to let the riders behind you know what you see and what's coming, because not everybody in front of you will provide warnings. I mean, some people are just focused on riding. you will see in a little while. I don't know if it's right here. The guy in front of me hits something, and I'm thinking, why is he not looking? Because the road, the lane is wide enough to where you can kind of see what's coming. He hit something. I saw it, so I stayed to the left of it. It's just a blob of asphalt or something. And when you're moving at a good clip, those things are uncomfortable. They're like little speed bumps. And his bars bounced in his hands. It was fortunate to be able to maintain control. So when you're following other cyclists and something happens, don't panic. All you have to do is, okay, something happened here. I got to go left or right or hit the, you start thinking about a way out. Because panicking, you freeze. You don't need to panic. You start adjusting. Sometimes you accelerate out of trouble. Right there. I just shook my head. I'm like, how did you not see that? Paul's laughing. So we're going downhill somewhat here. Yeah, it says -2, -1. We're almost flat. And so you leave a little more gap so you're not reacting too much to what they're doing. And I just keep the legs turning. But I'm not really applying that much pressure. They're right here. It's leveling off. So if you're riding and you have to move, shift around the saddle, all of that, it's not in the right place. Your body doesn't like where it is. You should just be pedaling. We spent over the years an inordinate amount of time on perfecting our fit. It's not magical. It's not a whim. You got to work on it. Everyone you see that looks smooth on the bike, they work on it. It's a continual process because you're always changing things. So we're really picky what we buy for our connection points, so to speak. Our shorts, our shoes, our hands. We're really particular about the kind of bars we use. Anywhere we're going to be touching the bike. The road is closed. I already spotted it, so I'm letting them go. And you get over early. I used my mirror. I knew the lane was clear. Take the lane so that the other road users know. You don't want to wait till you get to the closure. Even when you're driving your car. We got a lot of people in the Houston area when they're driving their cars, the lanes that are merging, they wait till they get to the merge point. Well, sometimes you're not able to merge. Get over early. No point in delaying it. No point procrastinating. So we go ahead and take the lane. That's probably another cyclist. He's tapping his horn. He's probably going to go home and get his bike and go ride. Sometimes the same thing has happened to me. I'll be out doing stuff. I see people riding. I'm like, man, I need to go ride. That's Dan the man on the right there. I haven't seen Dan in a while. Dan doesn't like the cold. He comes out when it's warm. That's Kenny on the right going by. He rides with more than them sometimes. That's Logan. And that's Doug Schaupp. I think Doug and them went to Anderson on this day. You saw everybody passing me, going around. It's not a race. Even in a race, they had the advantage because they were in a line. They had the momentum. They were drafting. I was sitting out in the wind a little bit. There's no point in you racing everybody in the pack for position. As long as you're in the same general area of where you want to be, you don't need to waste your effort. Because the next time there's a lull, you will end up rolling back up front. You know, it changes. So you need to be particular where you expend energy. in a little bit, I'm going to tell Paul that they're going to turn right. We're going to go straight. Where they're turning, it's a little bit of a zigzaggy route. They go down Walden Road. We haven't filmed it before. Maybe one day we will. But on this ride, I just kind of wanted to stay on the main roads. And, you know, Paul and I were doing a long ride. Told him we weren't stopping at Taco Corner. They were going to turn and take the back way to Taco Corner. We just continued going straight. We ended up coming across the leaders of this group. Some people, Logan's one of them, off camera.
Let's go straight, my brother.
All right.
Okay? We're going to turn. We're going to go straight.
Okay.
The next street is called Walden Road. I like it coming the other way. It's got 2 steep bumps at the end. Actually 3. So Paul and I did it on the way back on this ride. So we just go ahead and we wave to everybody, let them know we're going straight, you know, so people would know, not to wonder. They're turning here. So we let them know we're going straight.
All right, you legends. We're on the downside of about a 6.5, 7 hour ride. We're on the 2978, headed southbound. Turned out to be a nice day.
Look at that
Very
sky.
mild winds. So we're gonna get some clips for you all. Enjoy.
It's almost like an artist took his brush and created a picturesque sky. The wind was everywhere today, but it was not as vicious as we've encountered. And I guess with the fair weather and, you know, the changes in the temperature, if you look, when we started, it was 3 Celsius. Now it's 19 Celsius. You know, 67, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Almost, yeah, we're probably right at 70 now. So yeah, it warmed up quickly. So because of the kind of quality garments we wear, you can see we're still wearing what we started with, and we're comfortable. So that's the reason I bring quality stuff to the channel. They're not all created equal. Do not just buy because of price. Read the fine print. Read the description. What is this garment designed for? Because you're throwing your money away, even if it's inexpensive, and you buy it and it doesn't work for you, you've wasted money and time. So get the good stuff, get 1 copy, you're done. It'll last you a long time. So we're at 70 degrees, we still got long sleeves on, I got a base layer on, everything you saw this morning, still comfortable. The Alpine Pactimo shorts, still comfortable even though it's thermal, but it's extremely breathable and comfortable. Still got my knee warmers on, no problems. Some knee warmers, you gotta take them off. I didn't need to mess with my kit. So I'm very particular when I pick pieces to put in the arsenal. Understanding the temperature ranges. The wind is buffeting us from the left. So I get down kind of low. I know Paul is on my right, or at least he should be. And we're driving this. You see how I look on my bike? Even if somebody tried to say, oh yeah, here's a Pinarello, or you know, one of the new F8s or whatever they have out there now. My challenge will be, do you have one that is 56 centimeter or less? Let's say 56 or 54, that's the size I ride, that has at least, or at most, is 73 degree seat tube angle. A lot of these off-the-shelf bikes, I'd have to buy a 60 to get the saddle, the seat position, the seat angle where I need it to be to get my saddle far back enough. I sit 12 centimeters behind the bottom bracket. And I'm not the only one. It's not unusual. I don't have the longest femur out there. A lot of women have very long femurs. Women are actually built better for cycling generally than men. So don't fall for that, because a lot of the bikes that they make for the top guys, quite a bit of them are custom made. So yeah, I would prefer to get a bike that fits me well than something fancy that I gotta slam the seat post to its limit. And that's when you get the rails breaking and so forth. So that's very important. So when I'm looking at bikes, that's what I look at. I look at the size of the frame and the seat tube angle and the head tube angle so I can get low enough. Those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you've probably watched the videos that I have in the channel archives about how to select your frame. That's important. Once again, it's not price that's driving it. It's the function. What does it provide? The function is key. Start with that. Does it meet your needs? Someone came on the channel recently and asked, under one of the videos that I did a review for the Ventral helmet, he said, I'm looking at Ventral, the Puck Ventral Airspin versus Omni. What do you think? And my reply to him was, do the research, because you obviously found this video. Do the research, find out what the functions are, and buy the one that meets what you need. I got the Ventral because it gets hot here in the summer. You know, it's humid. I wanted something that was very airy. That's why I got it. And all my helmets fit that build. They're all, nowadays, I mean, they're all pretty much there, depending on the price range. Once you get up there in the price range, they're all very airy. And that's another reason why you end up just deciding, I'm just going to stick in this range, because then I don't have to worry too much about it. I made a comment, you know, like, oh yeah, the pro teams are using the Pinarello, the F8 or whatever. If you buy that and you're somebody who wants to ride fast, do crits, whatever, then you don't have to worry about the properties of the bike. That's what I mean. It eliminates your need to do a lot of research, and that's why they market them like that. So if you want to ride like those guys and do similar stuff, you get that kind of frame. You don't have to worry about it. I'm sure there are other frames out there that can mimic those properties, but if they haven't marketed them, then you got to do your own research, and you will save some dollars because they're not spending money on big teams, so their price ranges will probably be more affordable.
Hey, you taste some of this wind, my brother?
I told Paul to get up front. Look at that sky. Is that beautiful or what? I'm sharing this view because on Sunday when I went on the ride, the guys were talking shop. Everybody was talking about their new bikes. You know, one or two people had new bikes. They were talking about componentry and all of that. I don't care to talk about it that much on rides, but that's really what it should be. Do your research. Don't just buy stuff based on price, because there's some expensive stuff relatively that won't work for you. And you spent all that money and then you bought the wrong bike. You know, you like to do long distance riding, don't get a crit bike. Get something that's more comfortable, more relaxed. You can always take that same bike, go do crits. I mean, you know, it won't be as quick as the real aggressive angle bikes, but at least for what you use it for most of the time, you'll be set. So keep that in mind. Stop shopping based on price. Start with function, use. That's for anything, not just cycling. Even food, anything you buy. Is it gonna meet that need? And even if you can't afford it right that minute, save up. Because then when you get it, you get the satisfaction. And don't feel like you gotta justify to anybody why you buy something. You the one working for the money, is yours. You don't need to justify to anybody. Buy whatever you want. We get people making comments, you know, like, oh yeah, I got this bike for my birthday. Well, nice. You don't have to wait for your birthday to buy a bike. You got the money, you want to buy a bike, just buy it. What else are you gonna do with it? Can't eat it. Treat yourself. Can't take it with you. Don't get attached to money. It's a tool. Use it so it can give you the time and the services and other things you need to enhance your life. I use money to give me time to ride my bike, hang out with my friends, my family. That's what I use it for. Yeah, I was telling him, I said, I thought we'd have a tailwind. That's not the case. It wasn't that strong, you know, as we've dealt with in the past, but it's here. I check behind to make sure nobody's encroaching in this lane, because a lot of times when you go through the intersection, some of the drivers want to sneak by you real quickly. So I always verify. When I'm standing, when you're standing, you can't use the mirror. That's why I look back. We're about 5 hours plus into this ride. The reason it shows 4:05 in the duration is when we turned on the camera, we're an hour into our ride. We rode almost an hour to meet those guys. So I'm getting into near sweet spot right here. I'm trying to keep the effort in zone 2 as much as possible, but with the wind like it is, my body's moving, the heart rate wise is moving into the bottom of zone 4, right at sweet spot right now. And all I'm doing is keeping the effort steady, because we've got that bump, and after we go over that bump at the end of this, well, probably about 5 kilometers down the road, it levels off, but then you got ripples. So you're still on a false flat as we go into town. So if you didn't save your legs, you pay the price. I've been doing different workouts, getting ready for this phase of our training where we're increasing our effort. So we're cruising between 32 to 35K when we're really working. I mean, we don't work the whole ride. Right here is approaching almost 40K. Well, it's probably flat to -1, this flat road. Where Paul and I go, it's never flat. So we're near town. Back into near civilization. I stay on the hoods because there's a little more aero than the hooks, the drops. And I'm in zone 4. I try to stay as close to 90 as possible. Reason being is I can go faster if I want to without upsetting my engine too much, or I can push harder, shoot the grade change slightly, let's say, to where I would be in the upper 70s to mid 80s. The shoulder is nice and wide after we get through that light, so I use it. I still monitor the main lane should I need to get back on there, because there's a lot of debris. We have a lot of, I guess, off-road drivers that come out here and they go to the right. There's a lot of mud, and they come over. You can see there, that's one of their trucks. They go and they ride off-road, they come back, and there's a lot of mud that's left on here. It's just a mess. So on Sunday when we came down this stretch, there was even more mud. And they're clumps of mud. You don't want to go over them. They're hard. They feel like speed bumps. Those are the things that will extend the life of your wheels and tires. Paying attention and reading the road. It becomes second nature. You just gotta start out making sure you respect the road hazards that are out there and avoid them. That's the bump in the distance. It gets to, I'm guessing probably 5%, but it's short. It hits you quickly and then it's over, but then it starts a little ninja grade. I go to the small chain ring right here. So I went down and I shifted out in the back to where my rhythm stayed the same. And look at the watts. You don't want to get too crazy so you blow your legs or you lose your riding partner. This is where we usually climb, 250 to 350. And I'm not looking at watts when I'm riding. I just feel, you're not killing your legs. I'm just riding. I'm using like a 62-inch gear. That's what I shifted to. And I start with that and decide if I shift up or not. Keeping my RPMs up enables us to stay smooth. Because pushing a big gear slowly does not make you go fast. I don't hesitate to use my small chain ring because I've got extra ratios over there that I can't replicate on the big chain ring necessarily. About the gears are similar. For example, I'll use that as an example. In a 3914, it is the same gear as a 5319. And then a 5323, which I'm using my cluster in the back because most of my wheels have a 1225. So the 5323, which is right before cross chaining, I don't like to ride that too much because it's such an angle. It's not as bad as cross chaining. But so instead of being in the 5323, I just go to the 3917, which is the same gear, and the chain is straight. So your drivetrain takes less wear, less load, is more efficient. You use less watts. I made a video on cross chaining. You can search on the channel that explains that. But that's important. Why have the chain all bent to the side and you working your tail off and wearing out your chain and your rulers and all of that when you can have it in the middle, especially when you're climbing on the load? We got all kinds of gears. So you know, some riders will put like a 42. Back in the day we rode 52-42. So you can still put a 42 ring on there. But now the 3953 is a good standard. It's a standard gear chain set, and that's good enough. So most of the time I'm in like the middle gears in the back, which is the 17, 16, and I'm on my inner ring. Especially when I ride solo, depending on where we go, because I'm getting the same ratios on the less load, so my chain lasts longer. As much as I ride, I get at least 12 months or more on a chain, and I replace them as soon as they're 0.5 worn. So I check them. So I've never had to replace my cassettes, so I'm not filing them down using a worn chain. You can see the effort stayed relatively the same. Right around sweet spot to the bottom of zone 4, this whole stretch. It's not easy by any means, so it's good work. And if we're doing this for 6 hours, of course we can go faster for shorter periods. There's some kind of tool on the ground. That's why I pointed at so he wouldn't roll over. It's got like metal ends on there. It looked like fell off of some truck. Those are the things that can cut your tire. The light changed as we approach. We're back in civilizations. At this point of the ride here, what we usually do is, if we need to, we'll stop at a park in the Woodlands, load up our bottles of water, because we've got about 45 minutes left before we end our ride. We're about 45 minutes to almost an hour from home. So in my mind, when I hit the Woodlands, my ride's over. I just ride home. I do my work when I'm out in the country with the cows and the dogs out there to worry about, instead of all these cars. So I don't know what you did this weekend, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. We're going to do our little loop-de-loop. We go right, do a U-turn, and go across this road because it's busy. We couldn't get in that left lane. So that's what we usually do. So make sure, get your K's in and keep the doctors fired.
That's it, my brother.